This week, we are talking about Traverse City, the town that most of us live in or are near to, and that our school is in. In the early 1800s is when the Ottawa and Chippewa people began to settle and to live in Traverse City. Before that, Indian and French traders had visited and kind of come across, and they had named this area La Grande Traverse because of the long crossing they had to make by canoe across the mouth of the bay. And the town of Traverse City didn't begin to be created until 1839, when the Reverend Peter Doherty established the area's first permanent settlement at the tip of Old Mission Peninsula. This modern day village of Old Mission still occupies Doherty's site. You can find this history spot. It's 3 miles to the north is the lighthouse that was built in 1870. So that was the beginning of Traverse City. By 1847, a small but growing community was forming on the banks of the Boardman River. In 1852, the little sawmill town was christened or named Traverse City. But until the first road through the forest was built in 1864, it remained a remote outpost accessible only by water. A good place to begin exploring this community's beginning is on 6th Street in the city's historic central neighborhood. Perry Hanna, the father of Traverse City, there's Perry Hanna House, which you will find on 6th Street, was built in 1893. That's when stores began to grow, and it was really built on the lumber and sawmill. And then as the lumber and sawmill began to decrease, you saw agriculture, people growing potatoes and apples, and then finally cherries in the Traverse City area. And things really changed for Traverse City in 1885 when the state asylum was built in Traverse City, which we would call today would be called the Commons, the Grand Traverse Commons. And you will find many old buildings in the Commons area near where the hospital is today. And that shows a lot of history of Traverse City. Sledders, maybe some of you know the restaurant Sledders, and that is 136 years old. That was built for many of the mill workers and lumber workers that were in that area. The first Cherry Festival was in 1925, and the airport in Traverse City was built in 1929. So that is some history about Traverse City, our great city.